You're welcome back. It's still Hello Africa, and I'm delighted to come back to you on the show. And like I stated earlier, we'll be discussing something relating to poetry, something really interesting. Spoken word poetry has gained popularity in recent times, and you will agree with me, you have to agree with me. And as such, a lot of people have come to embrace it. In furtherance to the strides, that's been made with regards to this, today we'll be discussing issues in Nigeria. With discussing issues by addressing it, issues that have, that are addressed through spoken word poetry. And my guest, Kolade Muyiwa, is a spoken word poetry artist and the founder of Voice 360, a media and advocacy group where spoken word is used as a tool for raising giants and restoring hope to our nation. Muyiwa has performed on big stages with his carefully selected poetic expression and mesmerizing details to fictional work as a tool in his poetic deliveries. Alright, so before I go straight to introducing Muyiwa, let me tell you something. It's really, really amazing, to have him on the show today. So you're welcome to the program, Muyiwa.
Thank you very much.
Yes, it's good to have you on the program. And basically, I've said it's something that we have come to embrace. Spoken word poetry. A lot of people are doing it today. People are getting to understand the dynamics and are embracing it. Simply put, I want you to tell us. To you, I know you poets have a way of defining your stuff. You have a way of, like I said in my introduction, mesmerizing people with your words. And today, as much as a lot of people know it, let's not be like we want to spoon feed them, but let me just ask in simple terms, to you as a poet, what does spoken word poetry mean to you?
All right, thank you. Good morning, Africa. Good morning, Nigeria. Good morning, viewers. Let me first establish this. Every man speaks, but it's not every word spoken that is spoken word.
Okay.
So,
Okay.
spoken word poetry, simply put, it's a performance-based art, that is word-centered. It is
Okay.
word-centered in the sense that a, what I'm doing, I'm speaking word, but when I want to transfer it, or when you want to call it a spoken word poetry,
Mm.
there are things that must be put to consideration.
Mm.
We tag them PLM, that's practicing, learning, and also memorizing.
Mm-hmm.
But all these things come in place through the that's where things like intonation and voice inflection comes in.
Okay.
So just simply put, spoken word poetry is a performance-based act that is word-centered.
Wow. Performance based, if I get that correctly,
Performance arts
a performance art
that is
that is word
word-centered.
centered.
Yeah.
All right, so that is to you, as a poet. Later in the show, you have to do one for us. That is definitely sure.
No,
But for now, a lot of people will tell you they get inspirations from God knows where. Some people, as sad as it is, get inspiration when they do the wrong things by taking drugs. That's the truth. Yes, some people do that, which is completely wrong and shouldn't be, supported. But then, how would you say is what would you say is your inspiration? Like you would have different inspirations for different, you know, you know, ideas that you have. How do you get such inspirations?
well, I used to tell people outside there, being in Nigeria is enough reason for you to be creative
Wow.
because of our daily living, the things we see, the things we are exposed to on a daily basis.
Mm.
It makes you want to get back home, in your closet, in your toilet, on your bed, you just
Mm.
want to think. So for me, what works for me is that I have a deep intuition that's actually peculiar to me.
Mm.
I do most of my thinking when I'm in my closet. And I mean closet is also room. Maybe
Okay.
you call them toilet or all that. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
these are places of deep thinking that you are just there and they come. Then most times I pick my pens and the things that actually happen to me in real life or the situations around me, just try to create a fictional expression of them. I'm not an abstract writer.
Okay.
When you listen to me do my spoken word, you almost want to feel a touch of what I'm talking about.
Okay.
I want to carry you along because we have so many other aspects of spoken word. Some are read aloud, like the one I do.
Mm-hmm.
Some also do theirs by reading. Some do theirs by reciting. We
Mm-hmm.
have some poetic or poetry slams.
Mm-hmm.
That's competition aspect of it. We also have poetry hip hop. Someone like
Okay.
MI, when
Yeah.
MI sings and you listen to some of the songs,
Yeah.
Emma also do spoken word sometimes. So we have different things that actually gives us the scene or the ambience to actually have our own way of writing what we want to do.
Okay.
But for me, what works for me is I take my own life at
Mm.
the center of it, then the situation around me. I just put them into writing and simplify them. Then the picture of it comes out.
All right. You said something about you've mentioned different things, and I'm sure someone who is watching maybe has the flair for poetry, and is like, what is he even talking about? How do I even differentiate all these things you just listed? You said something about read aloud.
Yeah.
You're not an abstract, you know,
Yeah.
spoken word artist.
Yeah.
You're not this. Can you break it down? You are not an abstract spoken word artist. What does that mean? Then maybe we can, get to the other part that you talked about.
Okay, some people, if if they have to describe you,
Okay.
me talking about the description of your hair, the
Mm.
description of your necklace, the
Mm.
description of your earring.
Mm.
If I'm very fast thinker, you'll be like, are you actually talking about this lady?
Mm.
But there are some people, they go straight to you.
Mm.
Why talking about you even to the point of mentioning your name?
Okay.
I get to know you faster that way. So some people, these are people you want them to talk about Nigeria, you want them to talk about sports, but they don't go straight by hitting the nail on the head. They don't just mention the term Nigeria. They use things that looks like Nigeria. It's at the end. Sometimes you have to get back home, not at the instance. You have to get back home and like, what's this guy talking about? Oh, really?
Okay.
So those are abstract.
Okay.
But some actually fix. They create this picture that makes you want to be like, oh, this is what they're actually talking about. From the instance, you know where they're going to.
Okay.
So
All right. So you mentioned more like different categories.
Yeah.
You said read aloud,
Read aloud.
written or something. I don't
Reciting.
know. Reciting. So can you break it down? What are these things? How do they happen?
okay, we have different categories of poets. The one I do is called recitation,
Mm-hmm.
poetry recitation,
Mm-hmm.
where and for everyone to be, for anyone that want to be good doing poetry recitation, three things is very paramount that you must do. I tag them PLM: practicing, learning, and memorizing.
Okay.
Some are good, but they don't have the time bringing everything and learning it offhand. They just want to write it down and present it to people. So they write and read to people. Some
Okay.
people appreciate that, but
Okay.
more often, most people enjoy it when you want to do it
Just
offhand and be
offhand,
like, where is
yes.
this guy coming from?
Yes.
We're not writing them from heaven. We write them, we memorize them, we give them time and all that.
Wow.
Some actually, they don't know how to actually face the audience by talking because they've not developed that trait right from time.
Okay.
But they have this tool of actually expressing themselves. But when they pick up in form of songs, it flows naturally in them.
Okay.
That's why we have some people end up being rappers.
Okay.
Yeah, so they end up being rappers
Okay.
because they are more able to flow with what they want to express by converting what they've written into songs.
Okay.
So we can have poetry, hip hop, poetry, jazz, and all that.
Wow.
Depending
Poetry
on the one
jazz.
that's
Wow.
poetry
Wow.
jazz.
I've never heard that before. This is the
Yeah,
very
poetry-
first time I'm
poetry jazz.
hearing that. Okay. Let's take for instance. You have a show coming up, and somebody like DK Chukwumerije is going to be on that show.
Okay.
Before we go to the part of the show, let's talk about what's it called? DK kind of spoken word poetry. It goes beyond just saying it. It goes beyond we are just memorizing. Can you tell us
Well,
how would you explain DK's kind of poetry?
Well, DK is a mentor, he's a godfather, he's
Yes.
the leader there. Everybody, let me say, a vast majority of
Yeah.
poets in Nigeria look up to
Up to
him and
him,
all that.
yeah.
And so many of that is actually work for that guy
Mm.
more than just poetry. DK is a writer, he's a
Yeah.
deep thinker,
Yeah.
he's an innovative, the guy is just all there. And something we must all know, the father of DK, if you know their clan,
Yes.
coming from the clan of Uche Chukwumerije,
Yeah.
a Pan-African person who
Yes.
knows about Africa. These are not just people that people who grew in Aba and don't just know anything else in Nigeria aside Aba or East. These guys know about Nigeria, they know Africa. And when you listen to DK's poetry, you are more carried away because DK brings reality to you as a picture that you almost feel and want to touch. So you are more like, okay, I'm in tune with this guy. his usage of word, his word balance, everything
Mm.
just go well. That has been in the industry for a very long time. So it's not just, but the vast majority just got to know DK recently.
Yeah.
It's just like this guy started and it's been that. No, you have to watch DK's videos. Why this guy was still young, the slams he has attended. So he grew along the process, and DK is just there. And DK is not just a spoken word actor. It's not just a spoken word artist. This guy's into theatre. I think he just went to Dublin recently. He came
Yeah.
back for one program like that. This guy is just all right. So many other things work for DK, much more than just writing. That guy is all there. He's a mentor. And if he's listening,
Yeah.
well, I doff my cap.
All right, let's take a look at how important, spoken word is to you as a poet. As a poet now, how important is spoken word poetry? And generally, maybe once you're done with how it's important to you and how it helps you personally, you know, this is the time where you more like personalize it. How does it really affect you as a person? And then, generally speaking, how important is spoken word poetry to this world, to Nigeria, to any other person after you?
Well, um, being in Nigeria is not an unfortunate incident that can happen to anybody. Being in Nigeria is a privilege. Um, we are growing in an environment where the constitution says there is freedom of speech, but the aftermath of the speech no one can guarantee. So most people don't have that audience or the platform to actually express their mindsets by talking to people. You want to say so many things, but nobody's listening to you, except you have someone that knows someone that wants to voice you on the big stage. And if you don't do that, but through spoken word, it's the deep thoughts that translate you beyond the realm of now to where you want to be. You create an ambience that suits your environment for yourself. For example, you are here now, you're not having a car, you do not have a house, but spoken word creates you in America. You're riding your car, you're having a meeting with Donald Trump, you're doing all that. So it creates the environment that you want for yourself, for you. It makes you live your reality out. Then it makes your voice to be heard. It may not be on the general populace demand, but to a larger extent, people want to listen to you because when you do the same thing that people do the same way differently, people tend to give this attention to the yearnings. For example, everyone want to play football, but not everyone want to play it like Cristiano Ronaldo or Lionel Messi. So when you're doing the same thing that people are doing the same way differently, people want to. Everybody speaks. Like I started, every word spoken is a speech. But it's not everything that you say that everyone calls spoken word. There are ways it's being done, intonation, voice inflection, racing, coming down, undulating, and all that things you must know and master. So being a spoken word artist is just no, is much more than being a good orator, just having the charisma to speak aloud. No, it's much more than that.
Okay, is much more than that. How would you give more like an advice? How would you say, spoken word is? How does it grow? How do you grow in it? How do you develop yourself in it? Because I'm sure the way you are now is not the way you used to be.
Yeah, sure.
So for someone who is watching, of course, the hard work and consistency has to play a very big, huge role in making you better. But of course, how do you grow in it? What do you have to do? Simply put.
No one's an island of knowledge. You don't want to be. Everyone wants to take self-glory, especially if you're a Nigerian. Everything boils down to being a Nigerian. You want to be like, even in business world, you want to do it alone and get the money alone and do it all alone. To grow, you need people in your life. You need mentors. You need things. Being a poet, it's not just about being creative in thinking. Also, you have to learn from people who have gone ahead of you. You listen. So many things on video to watch. You have to on YouTube to watch. You have to develop yourself through creative thinking. That is, you must understand the fact that this is what I'm into. I want to do it full time. I want to do it. I enjoy doing it. You must create an interest for it. You must create a passion for it, and you must drive satisfaction doing it. Because if you don't drive satisfaction doing it, you just want to write when you feel like. But a poet, even walking on the road, it comes to you. You just want to put it, and it keeps coming. You just want to put it there. So I take out time to read. I read books. I watch videos.
Hmm.
My subscription is not just to browse. I watch videos, look at people, Prince EA, people that have gone ahead,
Hmm.
Ezekiel, Perry, and all that. So you have to listen to them. How is it being done? Because we are just coming from a generation that is starting up, but some people have gone ahead of us.
Hmm.
And a general axiom says that fathers are allowed as when you stand on their shoulder, you see father.
Hmm.
So you just take these people as father because they've
Hmm.
gone ahead of you.
Hmm.
So just leveraging on what you've done and standing on their shoulder, where they couldn't see you, you're able to see father. So
Hmm.
when they listen to you, they're able to
Oh,
also
I
applaud
think
you.
I
So,
think you're already doing spoken word here.
so
That being said, I think we'll go on this very quick break. Not too short because we're going to take a look at something we are trying to talk about: spoken word poetry. What we are just talking about. Let's not keep talking. Let's go on this very quick one, and we'll be right back for more talks with Muyiwa. Speak your truth right there. Speak your truth. It's very important we speak our truth. The change we want to see begins with us. It's not just a slogan, it's something we should adopt as much as possible. Muyiwa is still here with me. Muyiwa, we are still talking poetry, not just poetry, but spoken word poetry. All right. So, for someone who is a Nigerian, you keep emphasizing Nigerian. The more reason you should appreciate this is because you're a Nigerian. So, is it safe to say that Nigeria is your inspiration?
well, Nigeria alone is not my inspiration,
Mm,
but being a Nigerian
mm,
is actually what certified me to be a member of this world,
mm-hmm,
because by geographical location is
mm,
where I belong.
mm-hmm.
This is where I got my matric number. So if there is something like that,
Okay.
so if there is an institution in the world that governs mankind,
Mm,
this is where my matric number, this is my department, this is my
okay.
faculty. So
Okay.
everything boils down because this is where I am, this is where I know things are being done.
Mm,
Well, up there in the Western world, in the Middle East, and
mm,
every other places,
mm,
things I beat better because of people that have gone there, the
mm,
things they say and all that. But here in Nigeria, well, survival of the fittest on
mm,
daily basis. We
mm,
don't know all our political leaders, the social economy, everything boils down to making us want to think.
mm,
I think the last Olympic in Nigeria went
mm.
and he defeated his opponent 23 seconds to the
Yeah.
match.
Mm.
And when he was interviewed, why did it take you what such a fast time to actually conquer your opponent? And he said he summarized his anger for Nigeria in one blow and he
Wow.
gave it to that guy. And that was all. So
Mm.
Nigeria is enough environment to create that enabling environment for you to actually have a deep thought on daily basis.
Mm.
So growing up there is an amazing experience.
Mm.
I said it earlier.
Mm.
Being in Nigeria is a privilege.
Mm.
It's not a misfortune.
Mm.
It's not every other thing that people want to think about.
Mm.
So
All right. So, as a spoken word artist, I'm sure you face some kind of challenge. Every now and then. Can you tell us about it?
well, being a spoken word artist, so many challenges. You sometimes it want to make you cry.
Wow.
Sometimes it want to make you break down.
Mm.
When you're prepared for a big occasion,
Mm.
you've written, you've learned, you've memorized,
Mm.
you've practiced, you've burned night candles, you've bought that data, you've done all your exercise, the normal ones you're supposed to do.
Mm.
Only for 3 to 4 hours to the program you're prepared for, and you've just been told like, we're sorry, you'll not be coming up. So
Whoa.
things like that breaks your heart. Or you just finished doing a piece, you've not saved, something happened, your system goes off. Or the one that just happened to me recently,
Wow.
it was coming. I have a program that I scheduled for this weekend,
Mm.
and on my way coming from work after the close of the day, I was coming. The normal Abuja things that happen.
Mm.
4 guys came with machete. They came,
Whoa.
my bag, my laptop, my phone, my
Oh.
poetry note was inside, all my story, my poem taken, and something like that. And program is 7 days to go. Things like that makes you want to get back home, sit and rewrite, because this is where we belong. The general clam of people outside there is that we die here, but me, you can't me, I don't want to stay here. So
Wow.
they just want to say, I'm a Nigerian, so this
Mm.
thing happened to me. Imagine even if you have done your piece and it's ready made. For that experience alone, it makes you want to think and write something out again. So
Mm.
over and over. So the challenges are enormous. The
Mm.
times you want to write, but the inspiration is not coming, and they are
Mm.
giving you a deadline.
Mm.
You have to do this tomorrow, and you're just blunt. Then combining that with work ethics and all that. You have to deliver at work. You have to do your food concentration. You close by 6, you get home by 8. You have to, as bachelor, you have to cook, do all that. So to write and memorize and still
Yeah.
deliver all that.
Yeah.
So challenges. And sometimes you get venue only to think that it's been changed without your notice and all that.
Wow.
So many things happen.
Wow. You just listed a whole lot of challenges right there. But for you, how have you been able to cope with all those kinds of challenges? Say for instance, okay, you work, you are not just a spoken word, you're not doing it full time and living out a career. You are doing career and doing
Yeah.
spoken word artistry as also a part-time career,
Yeah.
and all that. So how are you able to cope with these challenges you've mentioned and cope with work?
Well, 3 things I used to tell people that works for you is this. There are things that you are bound to do because your discipline has given room for you to do. You study medicine, you want to become a medical doctor because you've invested much while you're in school. But there are things that talents bring out from you. And aside talents, 3 things works. What do you find interest doing? Are you passionate about it? Then are you satisfied doing it? So I call them IPS: interest, passion, and satisfaction. Those 3 things when they work for you. Then until you begin to convert your pleasure, what you do for fun, whether you're being paid or not, you just derive joy in it. So it flows naturally from you, because the way the work environment in Nigeria is being structured is not the best. They just want to use you. The salary is 30,000 naira. You must work for that 30,000 naira. So your boss wants you to work from 8 a.m. finish by 6 p.m. and all that, but you don't have the time for yourself. But that little time you have, that thing that flows naturally from you. A vast majority of Nigeria, when they get home, they forget about work. They don't even know. They don't even think about the job they do, the 9 to 5. They don't think about it. There are things that they actually do. Like I have friends who do something, who work also, but there's something you just want to see, you just want to do makeover. So those are the things. That's your passion. You can also make it something. Then I think on the long run, it works for you. That's what we invest on later on, and it becomes your own business.
Actually, I actually appreciate the fact where you said eventually. I think sometimes you have to invest in what you have now, and then use it to fuel whatever your passion is for the future, because eventually that's what's going to keep you and put your name in the sands of time, if I add to that. All right, so I agree with you totally. But then your show is coming up, and you just said you had issues. One of the challenges you've had, is losing your document. I don't know how I'll feel if I were in your shoes. But tell us, the title of that show is Gimme Nigeria. Gimme. Gimme. That's
like you say it in Pidgin, Mona, give me Nigeria.
Gimme. Okay, Mona, gimme Nigeria.
All of you.
That is
all of you that are holding Nigeria into ransom, give me.
And I like, should I say Poet Vex? Is that the name of your organization, or it's just, Poet Vex and then tagged Gimme? Can you differentiate?
All right. Poet Vex is the caption for the program.
Okay.
But the tag of the program is actually Gimme Nigeria. It is not Poet Vex, the one you're thinking, or you may be thinking outside there. Not that we're angry, we are not vexing. It is the extraordinary view of a poet.
Wow.
Poet view extraordinary.
Okay.
But it's a French word, extraordinary.
Okay.
So poet view extraordinary, something like that.
Okay.
The extraordinary view of a poet. So we're trying to see the extraordinary view of a poet in Nigeria, in tackling the social economy, the social imbalance, the ethnicity imbalances, and every other problems we have in Nigeria. So and we now target Gimme Nigeria. And the topic came like this. Myself and some group of friends, we just sat down to think about Nigeria. Why are we like this? Who has bewitched us? Why are
did we get it wrong?
So, and it was dawned on me like, I think there was a Nigeria that was birthed in 1914. Between 1914 and 1960, some things happened. Then the Nigeria they gave to us in 1960, it was as if the Nigeria was just introduced to us. Nigeria, we've gotten our independence. They just introduced the Nigerian to us. And immediately, the guy was arrested, put in a custody, and we were to be yearning and clamoring for Nigeria to rescue us.
Mm.
This guy could hear us,
Mm.
but his back has been turned against an average Nigerian.
Mm.
So all these people that are emerging as our leader, political office holders, they to me they happen to be the spokesperson for the real Nigeria that we embraced.
Mm.
So there was a picture, Nigeria. The Nigeria was introduced to us. We saw very beautiful person, very beautiful damsel, very handsome guy. But after it was she or he was introduced to us, let me use she as it may be, as it's most suitable. After she was introduced to us, then we said, we love you. We want to claim your name, so we are Nigerian. And after that, they didn't allow us to actually feel our impact. They just arrested her, put her in a custody, turned her back to us. So we are now left to be saying, La Masa Baktani, hear us. Why hast thou forsaken us? She could speak, but we couldn't hear her. We are also speaking. She couldn't hear us. Some people are just emerging because they were the one who arrested the personality of Nigeria. So they turned out to be the spokesperson for Nigeria, just doing what they want. And because the way your boss will want to do his work and routine is not the way you want to do it, because there are things that he has in his to-do list that you don't have. The way Nigeria wanted to treat us is not the way the spokesperson are treating us. So we are now like saying, I am a Nigerian. You introduced this lady to me. I love her. I fell in love with her. Why arrest her? If you have put her in a custody, I'm ready to pay the bill. Please give me Nigeria.
Okay, okay. This is really interesting.
Yeah.
This is, I like the concept of, the gimme Nigeria. So what are we expecting for gimme Nigeria?
Well, a lot of spoken word gladiators will be there that day. I myself will be performing.
Okay.
Nectar will be there. That's
Okay.
Bolo Gali. She's a
Okay.
barrister. She's
Yes.
Ruth Mahogany will be there.
Okay.
What Abba will be there. James Lee will be doing a song, Pray For Me.
Mm-hmm.
Topper Sachs will be doing a song, Great Nigeria, by Timi Dakolo.
Yeah.
And the Superman himself will be there.
Yeah.
Dike
I
Shukumereji,
see
to
him.
give us the breakdown. This guy understands Nigeria. He knows
Very
Nigeria.
well.
When Dike tells you about Nigeria, you want to ask yourself, am I in this country? Because things he knows about Nigeria, he has this deep and in-depth knowledge about Nigeria. He understands his country, and he's actually on top gear up there. So the guy has been fantastic. Having his personality, the first time I went to his office to meet with him and discuss this program with him, he appreciated it and he gave us the go ahead. This guy has just been tremendous in the industry, and his works are speaking for him. So
Obviously.
having him that day is a plus. So you have to you just know what to expect. It's like to an average football fan, you want to go to a stadium where Cristiano Ronaldo and Lionel Messi will be playing. So
yeah.
DK will be right there. Like,
Okay.
you expect the best.
Okay, so maybe you give us some kind of snippet, some kind of snippet of what you will be doing that day.
Oh, all right. It's about Nigeria. Nigeria is not actually as bad as we think. So we are saying, give me Nigeria, but let me just say this. There is one I always titled, "How do we get here?" Like, so, how do we get here? Were we not told that the future is bright, that we actually go back and view from afar the sparkles on the future that we now are? How they told us that youth are going to be the leaders of tomorrow, but the James Bond story and film that gave to us Tomorrow Never Dies was a prophecy for the now. Is it now that the future that we are is just a mirage of the past, because the past now looks more colorful than the future that we picture that we are going to be? Take me back to the time when imams used to kill ram and share it with their neighbors, call ram, when bishops don't have bio wives and have no business prognosing to the gossips going on in the shops, when Christmas was a celebration for Christians and Muslims, for rich and poor, and even the insane guy that used to bring his plate and sit at the gate don't chase people with a rake because he's having something in his belly. When cows used to be killed for celebration and human beings were the celebrants and not the other way around. When Bagudu from the north used to have land in rivers and even get married to Boma. When Kayode from the west had a farm in Benda without being called alien. When Ifeanyi used to be in-law to Alafin without being addressed as Ajokuta Mamumi, and every other things like that. When bombing was just a visual expression on TV before it becomes a constant occurrence in our domains. Hey Nigeria, I'm putting it up to you now. If you have been arrested and you are put in a custody of the past, please let them just name your price. I'm willing to pay the bill. Because the shout on the street out there is just that, we die here. But count me out, I'm not ready to stay here. I know you have a photograph, come to my lab. and I'll give you a frame.
Ooh, thank you, Muyiwa. That was really interesting. The funny thing is, I didn't even know when you started. Next thing, I just saw that you were having a flow, and I followed, and
It's about Nigeria.
it's about Nigeria.
Uh,
And I believe, we can do our bits, and you can see it right there, guys. Muyiwa has a show coming up, and if you are available, you can attend. It's an interesting, especially for you all, poetry enthusiasts, those who appreciate poetry, those who appreciate the art of spoken word, those who appreciate music, because of course you said,
yeah,
there'll be music that day,
definitely.
and lots of things that that are interesting if you're such an an enthusiast of the art. So this let's take this spoken word poetry one more time. Let's see how this works, because some of us do not really get it, but we are getting gradually, we are getting to understand how we really do work.
Maybe it's just a matter of time. You'll be off stage there to actually do something. I won't call it
Okay,
spoken.
let me ask you this final question before you go. How do you think, something like this your show now? How do you think you can use it? How do you think it can be important to addressing some of these issues you have raised as regards some of the challenges Nigeria is facing? How do you think it can be addressed?
Well, the problem with Nigeria is that there is no one policy that will just make an effective or instant impact on everyone at the same time. So, because of the kind of personalities that we're inviting for this program,
Mm,
most of them are top government functionaries.
mm,
Because of the personality. So let's speak about Nigeria and picture the Nigeria of our dreams
mm.
in their hearts. Then let them take it back to their respective offices, their respective firm and sectors. Then from there, if it begins with you and it begins with me, it can just go around like that. So that's why they say it begins with you. The change we're talking about, it
Mm.
begins with you, it
Begins
begins
with
with me.
me.
So it can begin with anybody.
Thank you so much, Muyiwa, for coming on the program. We
It's my
really
pleasure.
do appreciate that you are here, to tell us all about, spoken word artistry and all that it entails. And like I earlier stated, and he has reiterated, the change you want, the change I want, the change we all want begins with each and every one of us. I said earlier we'll be taking a spoken word poetry piece. Let's take this one, and when we return, Hello Africa continues.